Oh, good point. All right. So once again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Whether you're on your lunch break at work or just joining in, maybe you have off today or you stay home. But thank you for taking time out of I know we're all busy, so time out of your busy schedules for joining me today. So with that said, let's dive in because I promise not to take up more than half an hour of your time. So let's learn all about period cravings. All right, we're just going to go over our agenda for today's webinar quick. So I'm going to introduce myself. I know I had all of you ladies kind of introduce yourself, so thank you for that. Then we're going to go over just some kind of brief research and stats that researchers have found about cravings, as well as why you have cravings, then what to do about your cravings. We're going to wrap it up, have a little Q&A, and then just ways that you can keep in touch with me. All right, so for those of you who do not know me, I am Jess, and I'm a women's hormone health coach. I help women learn how to use their daily habits to balance and support their hormones. And I'm really passionate about this topic because I myself have struggled with hormone imbalance and the symptoms that it caused, like fatigue and anxiety, unwanted weight gain, irritability, PMS symptoms, mood swings, headaches, joint aches, bloating. I was snapping at my family a lot. I wasn't waking up rested. I just wasn't feeling like myself. I knew something was going on and it was really affecting my health. And I dove into research to help myself figure out how to live in a way that would be supporting my hormones, not stressing them the F out that a lot of my habits were. And what I found is that your daily habits, even the small little ones that you don't think really matter, they really add up and affect your hormones really a lot over time, more than most people realize. And even if you, quote unquote, feel fine now, some of the habits that you have will show up as unwanted hormonal symptoms later, like the ones I struggled with. And it is now my mission to educate other women about how to live in a hormone healthy way. Basically, I want to be the person for you that I wish I had 10 to 20 years ago. Because if I had known how some of those habits that I was doing in my 20s and even going back into my teen years were going to manifest themselves in like the symptoms that I mentioned before, once I kind of hit my 30s, I would have changed my habits, or at least I hope I would have changed my habits if I knew the information back then that I now know. So hold on. There we go. All right. So before we dive into some of the stats that researchers have found about cravings, I want to put a poll out to all of you. So either in the chat or unmute yourself. How many of you experience cravings, whether it's just around your period or all the time? So go ahead and either type yes in the chat or unmute yourself and let us know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it kind of around your periods or before your period, or do you find yourself just experience cravings kind of any old time?
For me, I feel like it's like all the time, especially with chocolate, but definitely more intense around the time of my period.
Sure. What about you, Trish?
Yes, I do all the time.
Yeah. And Margie, you said you do?
Yeah, I think for me, it's more the salty cravings.
Sure.
And I think it works out to be like a week before my period starts.
All right. And, thank you for sharing that, ladies. And yeah, it is very, very common. A lot of women experience cravings, and sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's salty. So we're going to dive into, again, kind of why that might happen and what you can do about it. And, when I asked in a poll on my Instagram story, a couple weeks ago, how many of you experience cravings, 100% of the women who responded said that they did. So that just goes to show you are not alone. It is very, very common, and a lot of times it's just kind of laughed off as, oh, yep, I got my period. That's why I'm craving chocolate. But today we're going to dig into why that might be happening. So we will definitely get into the why and the what about cravings, but first let my science-driven heart give you some cool stats that researchers found. So one study found that chocolate craving in the time before your period occurs, it occurs in about 20% of American women, which I guess I don't remember offhand how many women they had in this study, but I feel like that percent could probably be higher. Another study found that the women in the study showed a greater preference for chocolate foods during their menstrual flow, so during the period, than any other phases of their menstrual cycle. A different study found that women's salt cravings increased throughout their cycles from preferring little to no salt during their menstruation phase, so during their period, to then preferring a lot of salt in their luteal phase. And the luteal phase is the one that happens before your period. And then yet another study found that cravings and the amount of food consumed was higher in the luteal phase. So again, that time before your period, than the follicular phase. The follicular phase is between your period and ovulation. So those are just some kind of cool stats. Again, I don't remember offhand how many women were actually included in those studies. But all right, before we get into the nitty-gritty of cravings, let's do a quick review of the menstrual cycle so that you know what I'm talking about when I'm saying words like follicular and luteal. So there are 4 distinct phases of the menstrual cycle, and there are a lot more hormones involved in it than just estrogen and progesterone, but those are the 2 main ones I'm going to talk about. So the first phase of your menstrual cycle is your menstruation phase, aka your period. So it starts on day 1 of your period. The day one is the first day you have flow. So spotting doesn't count as your period. Your menstruation phase starts day 1 of your flow. So during that phase, estrogen and progesterone are at their lowest. Then comes your follicular phase. Estrogen starts to rise, but progesterone stays low. So during the follicular phase, estrogen is the dominant hormone. Then ovulation happens. Estrogen peaks, the egg is released, aka ovulation. And ovulation is essential for progesterone to be produced in the next phase. Without ovulation, your body is probably not producing enough progesterone. So after ovulation, then comes the luteal phase. And in the luteal phase, estrogen drops, progesterone rises, and then both drop right before the start of your next cycle. So can you guys see on this screen at all? I'm holding up, yeah, okay. So as you can see, during menstruation phase, both of them are low, and then estrogen starts to rise, peaks right before ovulation. Once ovulation happens, estrogen drops, and then progesterone starts to rise. So those are, again, there's a lot more hormones involved in the menstrual cycle than just those 2, but those are the 2 main ones that I just wanted to talk about. All right, so let's dive into why you have cravings, especially cravings in that PMS week and during your period. And believe it or not, there are physiological reasons why you might have cravings during those phases. So iron and magnesium levels tend to drop during the luteal phase. So remember, think of like PMS week. Luteal is before your period. So iron and magnesium levels in your body actually drop during the luteal phase. And dark chocolate has both of those, essential minerals for our body. And this drop of iron and magnesium contributes to the drop in energy and mood that many women experience during this time also. There's also a shift in fluids in your body during the luteal phase, and those salty cravings are kind of signaling your body that it needs more salt to help balance out the fluids in your body. Your body also uses a lot of zinc during the late luteal phase. So, your hormones are changing, which definitely affects your nutrient needs too. And that could help explain some of those cravings that a lot of women have. Also, after ovulation, estrogen, serotonin, and dopamine drop. This affects your mood. Again, that might affect that, might have you feeling a little bit kind of blah, a little bit down, maybe a little bit pessimistic in that luteal phase. Your body releases serotonin when you eat starchy foods and sweets. And serotonin is a chemical that boosts feelings of happiness. So a boost in good feelings is always nice, but even more so when your whacked out hormones have you feeling all PMSy in that luteal phase. So that's where, again, your body might be craving some of those starches, some of those sweets, because it wants that kind of good feeling boost that it gets when it eats those types of foods. Also, hunger and calorie needs are higher before your period because your body is literally growing more tissue, right? Your uterine lining, because when you have your period, when you're in your menstruation phase, you are shedding your uterine lining. And before that uterine lining is shed, it is grown during that luteal phase. So your body is literally growing more tissue to get ready for a potential, it says potential period. I mean potential pregnancy, because your body is growing that tissue so that after ovulation, that fertilized egg can implant in that uterine lining. So that's where you might be feeling a little bit hungrier because your body has a little bit higher calorie needs during that phase. It's not like thousands of calories difference. It's a couple hundred, but still that might help explain some of that hunger that you might notice as well. And you might notice some simple carb cravings. So meaning like those sugary types of things, because your body is saying, hey, I need more energy to grow this tissue. Also, you usually weigh more before your period because your body literally has more tissue during this phase compared to your follicular phase. Plus, again, some women experience bloating. And again, that's where those salty cravings might be signaling, or might be your body signaling that it needs some salt so that it can help pull those fluids back into the blood and decrease the bloating. Also, the way your body reacts to different foods changes throughout your cycle. So you could eat the exact same meal in the exact same situation at the exact same time of day during your follicular phase and then during your late luteal phase, and your body will react to the meal differently. Why? Because your insulin sensitivity decreases in your luteal phase. So you are more prone to blood sugar spikes and crashes during your luteal phase. Again, luteal phase, that time before your period. More spikes and crashes in your blood sugar lead to more cravings. Also, when your body experiences stress, it releases cortisol and epinephrine, which cause your blood glucose to increase. So more stress equals more blood sugar and blood sugar spikes and crashes. And stress also plays a really big role in our hormones. Stress isn't just psychological stress. It's not just feeling stressed out. Your body, it detects stressors in lots of different ways. So stress is you not getting enough sleep. Stress is you not eating enough calories. Stress is lots of blood sugar spikes and crashes. Stress is you not fueling your body properly before and after workouts. Stress is working out too intensely at a time that your body can't handle those intense workouts. So again, lots of different things your body, lots of different things cause your body to get stressed out. It's not just that psychological stress. And let's talk about psychological piece of cravings though. We grow up hearing other women joke about craving chocolate before or during our period, right? Or maybe you've just convinced yourself that you'll always have a sweet tooth no matter what. So there's definitely a psychological piece of these cravings too, and why we eat and why we tend to crave the different things we do. Maybe we always crave a certain, I don't know, maybe we always crave mac and cheese when we have our period or during, PMS week, because when we were sad, our moms would always make us mac and cheese. I don't know, that's just an example, but food definitely has that psychological piece of it too. And comfort food. And it's okay if different foods make you happy and you like to eat different foods. I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy certain types of food, but just understand that might have a piece of that, a psychological piece of those cravings as well. All right, so what do we do about cravings? We know the why. Let's talk about the what to do. So first and foremost, whether you have cravings just around your period or anytime, blood sugar regulation is absolutely key. And don't think that blood sugar doesn't matter if you're not diabetic. It matters for absolutely everyone. And actually, the majority of the population has blood sugar spikes and crashes throughout the day. Looking back, I can identify things that happened in my teens and ways that I felt in my teens that were linked to blood sugar dysregulation. And again, if I would have known back then, man, maybe I wouldn't have had those hormonal imbalances in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s. And also, excuse me, some of us are more prone to blood sugar dysregulation through genetics. Like type 2 diabetes runs very heavily on my father's side of the family. I also have had gestational diabetes in the past. So I am like, my genetics aren't stacked very well, for me with blood sugar regulation, but that's not saying I'm doomed. It's just saying, okay, maybe I need to pay even more attention than somebody who isn't as genetically prone to some of these things. So again, focus on blood sugar regulation. If you commonly have blood sugar spikes and crashes, you might notice some symptoms like anxiety, increased PMS symptoms, cravings for sugar and caffeine, sleep issues, energy slumps, especially that mid-afternoon energy slump, difficulty focusing or brain fog, irritability, or getting hangry. And blood sugar spikes and crashes that happen a lot over and over, especially over time, will eventually lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance paves the way for a lot of chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, like dementia, cancer, endometriosis, PCOS, among other health issues. So if you are having a lot of these blood sugar spikes and crashes and you're not addressing them, they can eventually lead to more serious conditions. And if you really want to dive deeper into blood sugar regulation, why it's important and how to focus on it, I do talk about this with a lot with my one-on-one coaching clients. But here are some real life practical tips you can use to help your blood sugar stay more regulated. So increase your proteins and fats, especially in your late luteal phase, because remember, during that time, your body is more, it has a decreased insulin sensitivity, so it's more prone to blood sugar spikes and crashes. So proteins and fats, they help keep your blood sugar more balanced, and your metabolism and calorie needs are higher, remember, during this late luteal phase because you are building tissue. So proteins and healthy fats are going to help keep your blood sugar more regulated and help prevent those blood sugar spikes and crashes. They're also going to help you stay full longer so that your body is not like an hour after you eat, like, man, I'm starving. Give me some of those quick carbs again. Try not to go more than 3 to 4 hours without eating. Increase your fiber. Fiber coming from fruits, veggies, seeds, nuts, whole grains. Also, all of those foods contain lots of great vitamins and minerals that are very important for your health and your hormones as well. This is one that a lot of women struggle with. Eat breakfast within 45 minutes of waking up and always before your coffee. I was just talking about this on my Instagram stories yesterday. Eat breakfast within at least 45 minutes of waking up and do not have your coffee until after you eat breakfast. I get it. I used to be horrible at that. I used to do like the complete opposite of that. I wake up and have coffee immediately and eat breakfast an hour or two later. Why do you think I was anxious? Why do you think I had cravings? Why do you think my energy sucked? And I was, and I was having more PMS symptoms because I was not taking care of my hormones especially in the morning. And what you do, how you start your day, really paves the way for how the rest of your day goes. Also, never eat solo carbs, meaning don't have just a piece of fruit by itself. You want to have protein and or fats with that, again, to help prevent that blood sugar spike and crash. Also, the order of your food matters. So when possible, when your meals are separate, have your veggies first, then your proteins and fats, and then your carbs. Also, if you're going to eat dessert at the end of your meal. Don't eat it mid-afternoon by itself, because remember, no solo carbs. If you're going to have dessert, have it at the end of the meal after you've had veggies, protein, and fats. And I get that not every meal is separate, right? But when your food is separate like that, you try to eat it in that order. All right, so I know Margie, you said you crave salt, so we're gonna talk about that salt, those salt cravings. If you crave salt, have salt. It helps bloating by pulling fluids back into your blood. But here's the thing, don't just go for lots of ultra processed, super high in sodium processed foods. Reach for more natural forms of salt. Celtic sea salt, Himalayan pink salt, or Redmond's real salt are really good options. And again, because if you're bloated, you need sodium to help pull fluid back into the blood. And those three types of salt are less processed, and they're not stripped of other great minerals that traditional table salt is stripped of. And those types of salt are very readily available you can probably find them at any grocery store now. One thing, try to avoid chips and other snacks that have seed oils. By seed oils, I mean like canola oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, sesame oil, anything that's like a vegetable oil or seed oil. Try to avoid snacks, and those oils are in lots of our foods. The reason being, these oils have inflammatory properties and can actually worsen your PMS symptoms. So instead, maybe try some air popped popcorn, so not the bagged kind, but the kind that you pop yourself, and throw some good salt on there. Hummus with veggies, cottage cheese, nuts, olives, pickles, tuna, cheese and crackers, homemade fries, hard-boiled eggs. So again, try to reach for not such heavily processed foods for that salt. Take your food and just make something salty out of it. All right, so I know a couple of you mentioned sweets and chocolate cravings. So go ahead and eat that chocolate, but aim for at least 70% dark chocolate. So at least 70%. So this is 85%. Oh, that's bad lighting. There, at least 80, sorry, aim for at least 70%. This one, as you can see, is 85%. Dark chocolate consumption has actually been shown to reduce cortisol. So cortisol is your stress hormone. Dark chocolate also promotes, feelings of fullness and being satisfied with your food. It lowers the desire to eat something sweet, and it suppresses energy consumption compared with milk chocolate. Dark chocolate also has antioxidants that have been shown that can help lower blood pressure, improve your mood, and provide other cardiovascular benefits. So again, when you are reaching for chocolate, try to avoid the milk chocolate and reach for dark chocolate, at least 70%. The higher percentage of cocoa in it, the more bitter it will be, but it can still taste absolutely wonderful. So try melting it and pairing it with some fruit, nuts, or throwing it in a smoothie. Or if you eat it by itself, let it slowly melt in your mouth and savor it instead of chewing it up quickly. So here's some good info to keep in your back pocket. So what is cacao? I think I'm saying that right. And what is that versus cocoa, right? So you might be like, did they spell that wrong? No, they are actually different. So cacao is the raw processed cacao bean. Cocoa is what cacao beans become after they are roasted. So this is what most chocolate products are made with, as well as the addition of sugar and often cream. So that's where you get milk chocolate, right? So you'll often see the word cacao on a package in like vegan chocolate products and chocolate products with minimal additives and processing. So for example, this is a great brand. Q chocolate, it is 70% cocoa. The only ingredients listed are organic cacao, organic unrefined coconut sugar, organic hazelnut, and organic cocoa butter. So again, there's no fake flavoring. There's no seed oils in it. This is another great brand. This is called Endangered Species Chocolate. I still got some left in this, so I'm really excited to eat a piece after I eat lunch. So this one contains bittersweet chocolate, cane sugar, cocoa butter. It does contain soy lecithin, which some people are kind of sensitive to soy, and it does have natural flavor. That's because it's got that mint in it. This is one I got at Aldi. Again, it's 85% dark chocolate, but it contains, again, that soy, and it is processed with alkali. And so as you can see on the last point on this slide. Cocoa is sometimes treated with alkali or it's Dutch processed. That's what our baking cocoa is. And it's done that because it helps to improve the flavor and appearance. However, this causes a significant loss of flavonols, which contain antioxidants. So that Dutch processing, or if it's processed with alkali, takes a lot of the good stuff that chocolate naturally has in it, takes it away. So try opting for natural cocoa or cacao. That's how you say it, cacao powder. And cacao in its raw form has lots of vitamin C, iron, magnesium, and fiber. Plus, it doesn't have sugar in it naturally, but that's where a lot of the processed chocolates do. So just, be a wise consumer of your chocolate. Again, one more idea with Cravings, get a natural mood booster other ways. Lots of different ways to do it. Whatever brings you joy, whatever makes you happy. So go read a book, go outside in the sunshine, get some fresh air, try a screen detox, stay off of social media for a day, spend time with family or friends. So find other ways to boost your mood that isn't food and see if that helps too. So I work on different habits with my clients that help them balance and support their hormones in different ways, but all in realistic ways that they can realistically fit into their lives. Some of the things we work on are the tips that I'm giving you right now in this webinar. You're basically getting some free coaching right now. So props to you for registering and showing up. And here are just a few things that my clients have said about Cravings. So again, I work on lots of different habits with my clients, but some of them do really have some of those intense cravings that we work on. And now, as a huge thank you for taking time out of your busy day to either attend this live or if you're watching the replay, I have two goodies I want to give you. The first is a free guide about 5 ways to curb cravings. So this guide will be emailed to you with the replay either later today or tomorrow, whenever the video can get processed and I can get that in the email. Also, the second is $100 off of Strong and Courageous, which is my one-on-one women's hormone health coaching. And this is where I work with women and get really down into the nitty-gritty of their challenges and their desires and what they want. And we find a way of supporting their hormone health in a very realistic and sustainable way. We work together in that. It's not just me talking at you, it's me working with you, that partnership in coaching. And in Strong and Courageous, you receive 100% customized coaching. So if you're sick of cookie cutter advice or you keep thinking, hey, that's a great idea, I should try that out when you read any of my emails or social media posts, but then you never actually do that or try that out, then one-on-one coaching might be for you. So the way to do that is to fill out the coaching interest form. Excuse me. That is on my Instagram profile. It's also going to be in the email that's going to be going out shortly after this webinar. And just mention that you were on this webinar or watch this replay. And then you would get $100 off when you sign up for Strong and Courageous. So we got just a couple minutes. So any questions, any Q&A, go ahead and unmute yourself or post it in the chat. Nobody? That's fine. Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't have any questions, but this was great and very helpful. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me. If any of you do think of questions, if you get off of here and you're like, oh, I should have asked her this, even if it's a week or two later or something, shoot me a message. I also just recently offered, I'm really excited about this, recently offered that you can book a free 20-minute connection call with me. So it's not just going to be me like being like, hey, join my coaching. It's just we can get on a call and chat. Now it won't be free customized coaching, but we can just talk about, blood sugar regulation. We can talk about, you can just sit there and talk to me for 20 minutes. You can vent to me about PMS symptoms. You can talk about your dog. I don't care what you talk about, but that 20-minute connection call is a great way just to get some one-on-one time with me, get to know me a little bit better, and just really see if we do connect. And if you're thinking of coaching, it's a great way to see, if we kind of, my husband hates the word, but vibe, to see if we vibe. So these are some ways you can keep in touch with me. You can join my private Facebook community. If you aren't in it already, it's called Healthy Hormones with Courageous Woman Wellness. You can follow me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, and you can join my email list also. And if you're not on any of those and you can't figure out how to get on any of those, again, just shoot me a DM on Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever, however you have connected with me, and I will guide you to those. Otherwise, they should all be at the link in my profile, as well as how to book that 20-minute connection call. So anybody have anything for the good of the group before we close this one down? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Look at that. It's saying 30 minutes and 37 seconds. So woohoo, I stuck to my timeline. All right. Now I'm going to go eat some lunch and I'm going to have a little piece of chocolate and we will see you later. Bye.